Hi everyone, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Bree. If you're new here, thanks for stopping. I really hope you stay and continue watching what I have to offer on this channel. And if you have been here for a little bit, then you probably realize that I have been doing NaNoWriMo for the entire month of November. If you've also been here, you might be questioning right now why this isn't called a NaNoWriMo vlog. Because there should have been 5 vlogs in this entire month, and I have only posted 4. So in theory, there should be a 5th vlog today, but there's not. Yeah. So, as I probably mentioned in my last vlog, I was kind of struggling with NaNoWriMo this year, mostly because of just the timing and pretty much what was going on in my life. If I recount to last year when I won NaNoWriMo with 53,000 words, I had a lot of free time somehow. I don't know if it was just my job was a little bit slower last year, but like I was finding time to write all over the place. I also think too there's probably a little bit to do with how my job was scheduled last year, where I had a decent amount of people who were meeting me like within certain time frames. And this year, I pretty much have people who meet me at 9 a.m. all the way up through 6 p.m. And it's really hard to schedule because at night I'm either like in and out of my house or like I don't even have time to come home. So like lugging like all my work stuff plus like a laptop and everything. It's just a lot of hard things. But anyway, I'll get into that more in a second. But I don't know. I can't really pinpoint why I wasn't, I didn't win NaNoWriMo. I do think I was still successful, but I didn't get the 50,000 words. And in the last entire week of November, I didn't write a single thing. I'm actually looking at my post. The last time I wrote was November 20th. So for 10 days, I didn't write a single word. And it is what it is. So today I'm just going to briefly talk about the lessons I learned while doing NaNoWriMo 2019 and share them with you guys today. So my first lesson is probably the biggest one that I learned, and it touches upon everything else that I'm going to talk about in this video. And that is simply that life might get in the way, and that's okay. My life is pretty chaotic at times. As I've already talked about on this channel pretty much, I am a therapist, and I do a very specific type of therapy where we have kind of like a structure on how it's formatted. So I actually have like pretty limited caseloads, like only a few clients at a time, but my goal with that family and that client is to see them really, really regularly, like multiple times a week. And I also work with their, like all their different communities that they participate in. So like their school, if children and youth are involved, if probation's involved, if there's any kind of other organizations that are here to help a family, I work with them all. So that means, in 1 week, I might have 2 family sessions, 1 individual session, a court hearing, a school meeting, and, like just the list goes on. Like I could end up having a lot to do. And because of that, my schedule gets rearranged quite a bit. And I also have to kind of put buffers in there to predict like that I might need to spend more time with one family than another. So that my job, it can be, additionally, it's not just a normal therapy job. It can be very stressful because of how many different things I'm doing with families. And the nice part it is that I have more of that buffer where I only have a small caseload, but I do have on-call. So there's always, because we're such an intense therapy, we're always on call. And then we switch our weekends off with the different therapists in the office. But I was on call 2 weekends in a row of my own doing. Because in this past weekend, I had a friend come in and we had like kind of a party. There's about 10 of us that were just kind of hanging out and having fun. And that also kind of just set me back. Like it was a really busy work week. Then I was trying to get ready to clean my house, buy things for the party, and not have a panic attack over the fact that I was running out of time to do everything. So of course, then my own mental health was like, oh, well, we have all this to do. Let's just sit on the couch and do nothing for 3 hours. That's pretty much how it works. As such, though, I ended up just being busy. And I don't really like to say that word, but time got away from me. And I didn't want to put pressure on myself to write because I felt like it was going to be crap. And also sometimes, I'm writing a book about depression and suicide and mental health. And sometimes when you're living that in real life with your clients, it is hard to kind of come back and write that on paper. So, my biggest lesson was, life will get in the way. attached to that too is that the second lesson I learned is I'm not a full-time writer. I have a very intense full-time job. I take care of my pupper who just came to visit me. I have a husband. I have a lot of family and friends that I interact with. I have a very busy life, but because of my day job, which is a very intense therapy job. Oh yeah, you want to say something? I don't have the luxury to always write. And you know, that's just how it is right now. I'm not doing side gigs for writing. I have a lot of projects that I want to work on, and I want to be a traditionally published author, but I'm not a full-time writer at this point. And that's okay. My husband was actually the one to point that out to me, and at one point I kept telling him, I'm like, I really should go write. I really should go write. I should go do this. And he just looked at me and he's like, that's not your job. Like, you can calm down. And I was like, yeah, you're right. It's not my job. Like, I don't have to stress out about this because this isn't something that I absolutely have to do. Of course, it's something I want to do, and it would have been awesome to finish and get the 50,000, but oh well. The third lesson that I have learned is that I really have to like tone down my competitiveness, because of course, if you watch my tips for productivity video, I kind of talked about, you know, that you can use the competition as a way of being like, you know, healthy and challenging yourself, but it also can get you down. And that's what I kind of really had to learn myself, is that, you know, like, I can't look at this as a challenge right now, because if I do, then I'm going to have that perfectionistic tendency where if I don't make the 50,000, I'm going to look at myself as a failure, and it's just going to spiral from there. And I'm probably not going to write anything for 3 months. So I didn't do that, and actually I'm really proud of myself, because doesn't come easy to me. I like love competition, so it's really hard when I'm like, I put myself in that position and then I can't do it. But once I removed myself from that situation, I just really kind of was like, whatever, like, I'm not going to stress about it. The fourth lesson that I kind of learned, and possibly the last big one really, is just that I have so many things that I want to bring to the table and I want to be able to write about. Sorry if you can hear my dog in the background. I think she probably has to go potty because she just keeps yelling at me, and she doesn't yell very often. But the fourth lesson that I learned is essentially that I have so many projects in the works right now and things that I want to be able to accomplish. And I think those little goals will carry me all through next year, and maybe even, you know, depending on where I'm at with all of them, NaNoWriMo next year will either be really successful, or maybe I'll end up doing it like a kind of one of those, the cheat November ones where like you're editing something or you already started something. You know, I feel like I'm going to end up using it however I want, because right now I have my co-authored book. Aria. She just looked at me. I have the co-authored book that we do have we're sketching out a plan as far as where our timeline's going to be, and we should be querying in February as of now. We don't have a lot of edits left on it, and it's just mostly just, you know, we have a couple chapters, we just have to make sure we age them up appropriately and make sure that it still flows consistently. But other than that, that's almost done and ready for querying. I have my NaNoWriMo from 2018 that I really need to edit. I have another book that I want to start, and I think it's mostly just going to be like that slow pace. Like, I really want to give time and dedication to this book, so I don't want to rush it in a month, essentially. So I might start that next year. And then me and my two friends I write with, Caitlin and Maggie, we were talking about doing an anthology book about witches, and I'm kind of excited. So I have a lot of things going for me, and that's kind of also helped me see that, like, NaNoWriMo not getting that 50,000 isn't as important as I thought it was going to be. Overall, the biggest thing that I have to come out of this is I still wrote a little over 27,000 words in November, which was essentially, it was a zero draft. I had nothing. I had barely like an outline, as you might have seen in my Preptober video. Like, I really am not great at outlining. And I still pushed through with so many words. And as I said in my vlogs, when I was sitting down to write, I was writing. Like, I was getting like over 2,000 words in one sitting. And that would sometimes be in like a half hour to like an hour. It was crazy how much I was actually writing. When I did my 6 a.m. word sprint challenge, I was like only getting 650, 750 words in an entire hour. And during this Nano project, I was getting double that every half hour. It was insane. So I'm really proud of myself that I realized that when I'm really into a story and I'm not trying to like edit as I go, I can get the words out. And I think that's something to be said about, you know, how much I'm growing as a writer too. I'm recognizing that, you know, sometimes if I just sit down and get the words out, you know, I can always go back and edit. I can always do more things. But if I was getting caught up in, you know, how this was worded or where I'm going. That was what's slowing me down. And I think too, at times, I think that's why I was afraid to sit down and write some of those days, was because I was just afraid, like, at what point am I going to hit a wall and I don't know what to write anymore. But I know that was more just in my brain, because every time I would sit down to write, the words were still coming. I have taken a few minutes to get started, but once I got started, it was game over. So I think, my Project Hope is not dead. That's for sure. I'm definitely going to go back to it. And that might be, when I'm going to create my goals for 2020 video, that's probably going to come back up. I'm not sure what I want to do yet with it. I don't know if I want to just, work on that once my co-authored book is inquiring, or if I want to put that as like a camp project, like finish that book, because there's Camp April, there's Camp July. So we'll see where it's going to fall, but by next year, like, I would like to have a first draft done officially on Project Hope. But anyway, guys, I just want to check in to let you guys know, while I might not have reached the 50,000 words in the month of November, I still consider it much more of a win than I started with. This is the 4th year I've done NaNoWriMo, and I've only won once. The first 2 years, I didn't get more than 6,000 words. So considering that I'm getting better every year, like, last I got like 6,000. I think I got like 4,000 one year. Last year I got 53,000. This year I got 27,000, which is like half of what I wrote last year. Still a big deal. And I really think at the end of the day, if you just tried anything and you got more words than you started with, that's successful. That's it. At the end of the day, you did more than you had. And if that's all you could give in that month, then so be it, right? A lot of us out there aren't full-time writers right now. We're not, making a career off of writing. And that's going to happen, and it's going to make things hard sometimes when you want to sit down and write. But keep finding the time to do it and keep pushing through, and I think we'll all get somewhere eventually. So anyway, thank you so much for sticking around to kind of see the end of this NaNoWriMo journey. I apologize if you were expecting one more vlog. I just didn't have it in me, guys. I'm really sorry about that. But I hope that you enjoyed this little quick lessons update, the things that I've learned while writing this year and in this particular month of November. And I will be back with more consistent writing things as the year wraps up. So until next time, guys, thanks for watching. See you again. Bye.